If you remember back in 2016 when Trump went from a curiosity to the Republican nominee, at that point things like the rule of law and democracy weren't thought to be our biggest worries. While we didn't imagine just how off the rails things would get, we did know that Trump had already lived a life of self-interest and self-dealing. So unlike every president before him, when he refused to divest himself from his companies or set up a blind trust despite promising to do so as a candidate, we had reason to worry. But as we learned during his first term, we underestimated just how conflicted a commander-in-chief could be. Foreign governments and lobbyists dumped huge sums of money at his hotels, at Mar-a-Lago, and his other properties to curry favor with the Donald, and it worked. Our own government spent millions of dollars at his properties, and I can't get the image out of my head of a Secret Service having to pay double to Trump properties for the privilege of renting his golf carts to follow him around on the golf course. Now, this says nothing of the billions sovereign wealth funds and foreign investors poured into the coffers of Trump family members to either bail out or invest into failing commercial properties. This, however, would only serve as an hors d'oeuvre for what would come in the 2.0 version. There is the tacky, from the Trump Bibles, the gold-plated sneakers, the unsubtle watches, fragrances, and digital trading cards, all emblazoned with too large a Trump logo, and all using the office of the presidency to enrich its occupant. Now, while these are certainly conflicts of interest, they won't likely buy access to the office, but they're both wrong and, frankly, really embarrassing. Next, we come to the new international real estate deals, especially but not limited to the Middle East. The obvious potential quid pro quos here should concern all of us. Now, some of these properties are owned directly by foreign governments, paying the Trump organization a branding fee in most instances to use his name. Now, for the privilege of lining our president's pockets, can you imagine the geopolitical influence these countries get in return? Then we get to crypto. Not long ago, Trump called this currency a haven for drug dealers and scammers. But now that he can stand to monetize from it, that's all changed. Trump and family launched a firm called World Liberty, and in the process, as the Times said, eviscerated the boundary between private enterprise and government policy in a manner without precedent in American history. Mr. Trump is now not only a major crypto dealer, he is also the industry's top policy maker, end quote. Now, he's already, in his first 100 days, changed policy to benefit the industry and directly his company. Even more damning, he's appointed a former advisor to industry execs as the chairman of the Security and Exchange Commission. And just for good measure, he had the Justice Department shut down the Crypto Crime Task Force division. I wonder why. Already, World Liberty has benefited from Trump pledging a federal cryptocurrency stockpile to back the startup, and foreign investors, they've already sunk money into the firm, creating a huge potential direct pipeline for these firms to curry favor with this White House. Even deals they strike with other crypto firms are sleazy. World Liberty, the Trump outfit, and other crypto firms, they'll invest in one another, but the corresponding firm's going to pay a premium to World Liberty for the benefit of having the Trump family endorse their enterprise. Trump's writing the rules, he's backing a currency with your and my tax dollars, and he's incentivizing those who want to do business with the U.S. to invest in his firm first. Now, the conflicts of interest keep going on. Super PAC donors like our friend Elon Musk literally gave million-dollar checks to voters and consequently got to craft their own policies, let alone get awarded government contracts for their troubles. Then there were the other CEOs who wrote individual million-dollar checks to underwrite his inaugural and sit like participants in a hostage video for a global audience, signaling their firms would no longer cross the White House, especially if that meant their media outlets would be pulling their punches if it came to criticizing the Donald. Major donors not only have benefited directly by deregulation of their industries, but tariffs have not too coincidentally been spared on folks who've kited the biggest checks. But beyond the direct benefits that these donors have already enjoyed, an ancillary bonus comes along in the form of a vanishing ethics enforcement. Since Trump retook office, more than a dozen inspectors general have been fired, as well as dismissing the head of the government's ethics watchdog. Again, I wonder why. He's also made it easier for lobbyists to join agencies overseeing industries that they used to represent. The Trump cabinet is by far populated by the most wealthy members of any administration in American history. The self-dealing, patently obvious, the guardrails all but gone. Now, you remember all that outrage from our current president over Hunter Biden? Well, maybe, just maybe, he was really upset because the then president's son was accused of doing deals that Trump would have considered chump change.